Oh, well, that's quite nice. Okay, so let's have a look at this box of records which I've bought. Now, I'm going to take a suggestion from Walking the Boogie, who suggested that I look at the less common labels, and I'm going to go through and just pull out the ones which I think are more interesting. Now, there's quite a few of these Rexes which I am just going to skip past as they're not particularly uncommon. There's a Brunswick there, looking like a Rex, but it's a Brunswick. So right, okay, now that's an Ariel Grand record. Let's put that out. A fairly common Decca. I mean, they're quite nice sleeves, but we won't bother with those today. This is a Broadcast 12. Now, they're not uncommon, I suppose, but they've got quite attractive labels, so let's pull that one out too. Now this is an earlier Columbia Arena record, or relatively early, so let's have that one out. Brunswick, another Brunswick, another Brunswick. Right, that's quite a nice colourful The Winner. Again, maybe not that uncommon, but they're quite attractive early labels. So let's have that one out too. That's a Decca. On the sleeve on that's quite nice. Got a couple of nice Decca gramophones. Oh, a H&V, which in this box so far is uncommon, but very common to see H&Vs in the UK. Quite a nice cover or sleeve on it. Decca. Another relatively early Winner with a nice coloured label. Imperial, nice Imperial in its Imperial sleeve underneath the arches. Jack Payne and his band. Now that is quite a good record. I think I've probably got that one actually, but it's staying in the box because it's not uncommon. Another Rex. Oh right, that's nice. That's a genuine Edison Bell disc. That's quite early. We'll have that one out certainly. Another Rex. Another Rex. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's quite nice to get some nice clean Rexes in their original sleeves, but they're just not that unusual. Right, just skip past the Rexes. There's another Winner. So we'll have that one out. More Rex. Oh, well, that's quite nice. That's the Twin double-sided record. Now that is early. Yeah, we'll have that one out certainly. Now, Broadcast 12, I mean, not that uncommon really, quite an attractive label. But yeah, I think I'll leave that one in the box. If there are any that you see that you want to have a closer look at, or want me to have a closer look at, then do leave me a comment. Okay, Isle of Capri on Rex. I don't know why I picked this one up. It's a good record actually. I'm sure I've got at least one, if not more than one copy. But it's not unusual, either the label or the record, I think. Brunswick, just Al Johnson Brunswick. Rex. Now that's a Broadcast, another Broadcast 12 with a nice coloured label. I think it's a different colour to the other one. There's a reason for that. I forget what it is. But we'll pull that one out. Maybe we'll have a talk about that. Have a look at why that's different. Brunswick, Columbia. That's quite late. That's a London American recording. Decca, The Street Singer, not my favourite. Another Broadcast 12 with a blue label. Maybe we'll have that one out. Now, Columbia Swing Music Series, I don't know whether you consider these unusual. I wouldn't. I don't see that many of them, but I'm sure they made a lot of them. H&V with a black and white dog and gramophone. That's got to be one of the most common types of labels found in the UK. Bouncing at the Beacon, Lionel Hampton and his sextet. I might have that one. They're often not very interesting. Parlophone, a couple of those, again not uncommon at all really. There's another Columbia Arena record there, so let's have that one out. An Imperial, that's I think quite a late Imperial, or the later style. Got to be careful, it's too easy to break the edges of 78s going through them like this. That's another Aerial Grand record, which I will pull out. I think I'll pull out all of that type, because I can see another one here. That's actually got potentially quite an interesting little sleeve as well. That's got to be quite an old sleeve. It talks about Jumbo records and Becca records and Rena records. That's probably quite an old sleeve. That's going to be worth a look at too, actually. But yeah, let's have all the Aerial Grand records out as well while we're at it. Now that is another winner with the coloured label. I don't recognise the sleeve. Da Capo record. Never seen that before or heard of that. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Definitely worth a look. Let's pull that one out. Another winner there. This Saunders and Fortescue. I've seen a lot of this sleeve, or this company on sleeves in this box, so they presumably are a good indication of where these records came from. Yeah, let's have that one out. Another Aerial Grand record. Well, yeah, let's have that one out. And another Columbia Arena. Well, we'll have that. Yeah, another of the Saunders and Fortescue. Special agents for Winner Records. Now, some little broadcasts. They're very common. Little 8-inch ones. Not going to bother with those. As an Eclipse, which was very similar sort of thing. 8-inch record. That's quite a late H&V. You see a lot of that style of label. Parlophone, I think. Yep, Parlophone. Another Parlophone. Much later Parlophone. Brunswick. Decca. Capital, quite late. Another Aerial Grand record. Another winner. Oh, this is a bit different. Now this is a Broadcast 12 or Broadcast 12 sleeve or cover, as I think they were described. But inside I can see a Dominion record, which I have. Let's get that in camera. I have got some of those, but not many. They are quite uncommon. And when I say uncommon, I mean different people have different views on what's scarce, what's rare, what's uncommon. I suppose what I mean is records which you don't see every day. So Brunswicks like that, they're really quite common. They're quite late. Now this is a Good Time Jazz, and it's a record that up until a few weeks ago I'd never seen one at all, but I saw one in an antique shop and I've seen two at car boot sales, of which I think this is one of them. So suddenly, after several years of collecting, I have found several. They're quite late. I think they might even be 50s, but let's pull that one out as well. H&V, Parlophone, another of those early Edison Bell, maybe not the earliest, but certainly early. Yeah, H&V, Parlophone, Columbia, very common style of Columbia label that. Parlophone, oh, velvet face. Now that is unusual. Never seen a velvet face in the flesh. Let's definitely have that one out. And Parlophone at the end. So I'm not going to look through all the records in detail, but just look at the labels and maybe any interesting other features that I spot. Also, how about giving this video a like if you're enjoying it? Thank you. So I'm going to start with the Broadcast 12s. These are the latest records probably in the box, or some of the latest certainly. These date to the late 1920s, early 1930s. What did I like, or why did I want to look at these? Just really to compare the different labels. So we've got the blue one there, which is a standard Broadcast 12, and then we've got the orange one here, which is the rather attractive Super Dance. So yep, that's the Broadcast ones. Now onto the Winner records. These actually all have the rather attractive early full colour labels. I could do a whole video on Winner records. There's just so many of them and so much to say about them. Lots of different designs. These are quite early ones. This one is interesting because it's got the sort of thick rim there and the thick rim here. And if I can just get it into camera shots, you can see there we are. There's some quite sort of thick lettering, and this is supposedly 1626 or side 1626. The other side, which is 1625, is completely different. The lettering is completely different, and there's no rim here or here, so I don't know what's going on there, but it's like the two sides were recorded at different times and maybe at different places. Now this record, Till the Boys Come Home, this is probably sort of First World War. Okay, and the other Winner one I wanted to talk about really was this, more for the sleeve. It's a nice heavy duty Winner. Actually, this one's got a bit of a crack there, or a bit of a chip. That's been done a long time ago, I think. It's got the thickness here and the thickness here, and I think the label on this is actually, or the writing on this is actually similar on both sides. Yeah. But what was probably more interesting about this one was this sleeve, which is not a Winner sleeve. This is a Da Capo sleeve. This is sort of pre-First World War. It's a German label. I knew nothing about it, but there we go. I've learnt something by looking through these records. On to the Columbia Arena records. These actually date from, I believe, 1910 to 1915. Between when Columbia took over Arena and when Columbia dropped Arena from the label. Let's have a quick look. Oh yeah. Now this does have an interesting feature, I noticed. Just there, it says patented November 25th, 1902. Now the record absolutely isn't from 1902, and there are some patent marks up there which are later. but I don't think I've ever seen a record with patent marks on quite like that. The edge of the record is also quite rough, it's quite unfinished. So when they pressed this, they didn't bother to clean it up much. So these ones are the Ariel Grand Record. And although the label looks Edwardian, they were around from about 1910 to about 1938, amazingly enough. And I have seen a fair few over the years. They were sold mail order apparently, and there's loads of variations, even though the labels are mainly the same. So this one's got made for Phonotypia or Phonotypia Company. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but I've not seen one with that on before. It's also interestingly says reproduced in Prussia, so recorded in London, reproduced in Prussia. So that's going to be pre-First World War. This one's interesting, not so much for the label, although I think the label's slightly different. This says made in Linden. The company behind this record had them made by lots of different people, basically whoever was convenient at the time. What is interesting though is that this is another Saunders and Fortescue sleeve. This is a very crude, maybe early one, maybe it's a wartime one, I don't know. But anyway, I did happen to find a picture of this very location, 48 Peckham Rye, so I'll put that on the screen and you can see what that looked like. This one here, this is made in Berlin, this one, and this is certainly a pre-First World War one. It talks about Rena Records and they were only around till 1910, so this sleeve is no later than 1910. It talks about, well, up here it says, let's find the right bit there, disc machines and records. And the reason I think it says that is because down here it also says Edison phonographs and records. So when it talks about records here, it means cylinder phonograph or cylinder records. So that's a very nice sleeve. I've never seen that one before. And this one here, just a nice sleeve. Now if there are any records that you want to see more of or maybe hear, then please do let me know in the comments. Maybe the other one had this and maybe it didn't, but this one actually says pressed in Germany. So yeah, I'm sure a whole video could be done on that label, but there's just a few. Right, so just very quickly, a couple of genuine Edison Bell disc records. Now these are early, as in they're before the Winner records. I think they are slightly later than some Edison Bell discs. I think there's an earlier design to these. So they're pre-First World War. I think 1912 or something like that. Nice early record with a sort of thick rim. No sign of which country that was pressed in. So just the one Good Time Jazz, definitely going to be the latest record in the pile. This is late 40s, early 50s. Just showing it really because it's an unusual label. I have come across some, but I'd be not surprised if you haven't, even if you're in the UK. So this is a nice clean Dominion record, very good condition. These were made between 1928 and 1930 apparently. I have a few of these. Again, you know, it's not like you'll never see one, but you certainly don't come across them every day. So that's a nice find. So this is the Twin. This was the Gramophone Company's first foray into double-sided records, made between 1908 and 1911 apparently, where they were combined with Zonophone to make the Zonophone the Twin, and they had a green label, or they have a green label, and they say Zonophone there, and they have this sort of the Twin in the middle. So these are quite early. That's a nice example. I've never seen an early twin like this in the flesh before. And this is the Velvet Face. This is an Edison Bell product. Pre-First World War. This is 1910 to 1914 apparently. It says genuine British. That's because, as you've probably seen, there were quite a lot of records made in Germany at the time. Lots of records came from Germany, and Edison Bell were very keen to make it clear that theirs were British made. So that's a nice early record there. It's an early Velvet Face because Velvet Face records did come back after the First World War, but with different coloured labels. Okay, so that was that part of records. If you have enjoyed this video, then you might like this one too. Thanks, and see you in the next one.